Welcome back to another episode of Case of Interest Kohberger. I'm Newswatch 16 Stacey Lang. This is our first episode of the new year, and we're doing it because Bryan Kohberger had his first court hearing in Idaho of the new year. And it was a day full of hearings, a lot to go over, and a lot of updates that tell us what we don't know and what we do know about when a trial for the University of Idaho murder case will actually happen. Kohberger had two hearings this past Friday. One was closed to the public. We don't know what was discussed other than we know it had to do with the defense's request to dismiss the grand jury indictment against Kohberger. Now, if you've watched any of the national news coverage on these two hearings, you probably heard legal pundits say that this is a stall tactic. We don't know what kind of evidence the defense may have to push this issue further even more. But what we learned in the afternoon during a second hearing that was not closed to the public might indicate that these are stall tactics. So in the afternoon, there was an open hearing that was streamed live for the first time, actually live on YouTube from the judge's courtroom, going over a number of issues. One of them was yet another attempt to dismiss the grand jury indictment. This one specifically on the belief the defense has that the grand jury was instructed incorrectly. The judge already ruled on this and denied this motion. They asked again, and the defense this time asked for the Supreme Court in Idaho to consider this motion. The judge denied that across the board. It's not going to go to the Supreme Court, and he again dismissed it. So that's a blow for the defense team. But they do still have this one motion that was discussed in secret that has to do with a few other reasons. We only know the basic reasons and allegations of a biased grand jury, incorrect prosecution are among some of the allegations being made. What we don't know is the evidence. That's what it would have been discussed in that first hearing that was closed to the public. Then after the judge dismissed that third motion to dismiss the grand jury indictment, there was a scheduling hearing to discuss when the trial might start. The last time we talked about the trial schedule was when the prosecution came out and they requested that the trial start in the summer of 2024 for a very specific reason, that the courthouse in Moscow is across the street from Moscow High School. So they wanted to do it in a time when the students would not be in school because there would be a great deal of distraction. There was going to be an immense amount of national media present for this trial. And they didn't want the school children or the University of Idaho students to be present, be in Moscow when it was happening. That was their main reason. The defense said, on Friday, they do not want that to happen. Not only do they not want it to happen, Ann Taylor said it's impossible. And that's because of the amount of discovery they have to go through. I have some really interesting numbers she threw out. She said the most recent batch of discovery that they got was 9,000 tips that were sent into the Moscow Police Department. It's 9,000 tips to go through. They currently have 50 terabytes of data, and she kind of gave an idea of what that means. She said it's thousands of hours of evidence. 50 terabytes, or a terabyte of data rather, 1 terabyte would be 250,000 photos or 500 hours of video. And they have 51 terabytes of data to go through. They also plan to ask for a change of venue for the trial. So that's a whole other thing that they would have to go through and would alleviate what the prosecution says is a problem, the location of the courthouse itself across the street from the high school. So all of these things combined are reasons why she wants to, Ann Taylor and her team and Bryan Kohberger want to push the trial to the summer of 2025. Now, that's something the judge was adamant in this hearing that he does not want to do. That's too long to wait, too long for the families to wait. So he did not set a trial date at this hearing. Instead, they're going to wait until March, do some more discovery, see how things are going, and hopefully see the judge's desire is to see things move a little bit faster and go from there. So we still don't know when this trial is going to be. I would put it at this point, very unlikely that's going to happen in the summer of 2024 as the prosecution hopes, but we will stay tuned. Kohberger doesn't have any more scheduled hearings. I imagine as we watch the documents, the public documents be filed, we're going to see a lot more in terms of discovery, which is really in the thick. They're in the thick of that now, and we'll be staying tuned. And as we see fit, we'll come on with another episode of Case of Interest Kohberger. So thanks for joining us, everybody.